Hello everyone. So today we're going to talk about how to fix the infinity focus problem with 7artisan lens. This could be applicable to other lens as well, but I only have this lens. So, and a lot of people over the internet also talks about 7artisan lens when it was focused to infinity on the lens, but actually it's not, it's over. So what it means is when you back focus a little bit, like turn a little bit back from infinity, that's when the lens is actually focused to infinity if you look at through a digital camera, right? And this is irrelevant to the rangefinder coupling. What we're talking about here is the actual infinity of the lens, not the coupling issue. You can find this, you can identify the root cause by adapt the lens to a, by put the lens to a Leica and mount digital camera and use the digital light view to see if it's actually focused. Or in my case, I don't have any Leica digital M camera, but I adapted the lens to my Sony cameras using adapters, right? So in my case, I use this Voigtlander adapter. It's a quite a well manufactured and precise adapter. So, and I also use other Leica lenses and Voigtlander lenses. So I'm pretty sure this is not the issue with the adapter. Rather, it's the issue of this lens. It's very important, before you start to adjust, you need to identify whether the problem is with the lens or with the adapter. So it's pretty simple. So what you need to do is remove the lens mount, this silver part, by unscrewing the 4 screws on the back. I already tried this before, but the first time I did it, it's not screwed very tightly. So should be a pretty easy work to do, to unscrew those 4 screws. Okay, so what you can see is the manufacturer engineers, they put those small shim between the lens and the mount, right? Because the issue of the reason of the issue we're talking about here is when the lens is set to infinity, that's the minimum distance of the lens and your sensor or your film. So when this problem happens, it means the lens has passed that smallest distance. It's too close to the sensor than it should be, right? So what we need to do is we need to put something between the lens and the sensor. In this case, we put those shim between the lens and its mount, right? And those original parts or shim from the manufacturers, I think it's made by plastic, but it really doesn't matter. If you want more, if you need to self-made or DIY some of those shim, you can use any material that easier for you. Now I think about it, maybe paper is more easy to cut, right? And you can find different thickness of types of papers, so you can choose between them. Okay, so what I use is this stainless shim that I bought from the internet, and I think there are different models, but the one I bought is this 40. So the inner diameter is 40, the out diameter is 50, and thickness 0.2, And also I bought this 0.1 version. But I end up using the 0.1 because that's more close to the ideal, position. But you will find one thing is, it's difficult, at least for stainless steel, it's difficult to drill a hole or the holes, like this one, right? Because you need to the screw need to pass through those holes. So what I did is I just simply cut this stainless shim into 4 parts. Right, those are 2 and other 2 parts. And you need to remove little between the parts next to each other because you want to leave the position for those holes to pass through. And yeah, for a stainless steel like this 0.1 millimeter thick, it's you can just cut it with the scissors. It's quite easy to do. So when you got those materials ready, just simply put them together, right? So there's just one position you can put, so there's little space you can make any mistake. So just one thing to maybe keep in mind is when you drill the hole or cut those stainless parts, you'll find, at least in my case, in this lens, the 4 holes is not distributed evenly. So it's not every 90 degrees. But again, it's not that difficult to measure where those, see, those 2 holes is, this part is longer than some of the others. But anyway, you'll figure it out. And you can use this to mount for the measurement, right? You can put a paper and just use a pencil to draw its dimension and just cut the paper. I think that'll be a lot easier than my case. And for paper, you can again select different thickness of different types of paper, different weights of paper, right? And when you put this back, there's a red dot on the lens and there's a red mark in the mount, so you will not miss it. Just make sure the holes for the screws is aligned. All right. And just screw it back. So do not screw the first one or the second one very tight, because that will cause the end flat. Just okay. Make sure it's flat, nice, and even. Okay, here's how I did it. There's 3 even smaller holes here, and you'll find screws inside those holes. This is to adjust your rangefinder coupling of the lens and your end mount camera. Initially, I tried to adjust them, but then I realized it's it won't do anything to solve the real issue of this. So just want to make sure you, again, like I said at the very beginning of this video, right? You need to really make sure the problem is with the lens. It's not with the coupling.